Hello and welcome back to the Team Bulletproof channel. I'm BP Brad, and if you haven't already, smash that sub button for me down below. We're on the road to 1,000 subs, so if you could help a brother out and smash that sub button, it'll be greatly appreciated. Now we're going to go through all the rogues within Rogue Company and put them on a tier list. So you'll find out who are the best rogues, who are the worst rogues, and who are in the middle. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about Anvil. He is one of Rogue Company's toughest rogues. He's definitely as hard as nails, and in defending, it makes him a must pick in most situations. He's got the LMG, which is named the MLX More, which is definitely the weapon of choice if you're choosing this rogue, but after the recent shotgun buff, the Arbitrator is equally as powerful, but you're restricted to range. Now, he has got the C4 as one of his gadgets, and he's also got the active protection system. The perks you want to use with Anvil are probably Helping Hand to revive your teammates quicker, Tenacity to take reduced damage from explosives, Life Drain, which is less important, but Headstrong is almost a must to get that extra 25 armor. His ability is the Barricade, which absorbs incoming bullets and damage from enemies, and he's immune to flashes and disorientation. So I would actually place Anvil in A tier, as I think his ability combined with his perks makes him a very good defender. Now, no one makes dueling more fun than the duelist himself, Shaq. Now, his ability is to overheal up to 175 damage, or to revive yourself when you're down. Although in game modes like King of the Hill and Strikeout, it's very hard to pull that off. And his passive is when down, you can roll around. Now, Shaq has the SKL-6 shotgun, but the gun of choice here is definitely the D40C, the SMG. It absolutely shreds. That accompanied with the flashbang and the Semtex, it is an absolute dream to breach a site. Now, you're able to throw flashbangs in and then use the D40C to shred down enemies. Now, with that in mind, you'll definitely want Replenish, the ability to reload your gun if you down someone, and Life Drain to regen your health once you've downed someone. All combined, making one of the ultimate duelists in the game. He's really fun to play, he's good in demolition and respawn game modes such as Team Deathmatch, Strikeout, and King of the Hill, which is why I'm going to put Shaq in S tier. Now moving on to my darling Dahlia. She is a support character in Rogue Company and one of two healers. Now her ability is to link to an ally for the full round, and when they go down she can res them. And her passive ability is the buddy system, which is inheriting someone else's passive. Now the three top ones right now are Trench for an extra grenade, Mack for his extra 25 armor, and Ronin to be immune from reveals. As for her kit then, she can either be good at short range or medium to long range. For short range, she has the Objection, which absolutely shreds. It has an insanely high fire rate. And the MXR is a DMR that is a single fire DMR that can shoot from medium to long range. Her gadget, she has a smoke, which is super useful when you're attacking. And she also has a grenade, which is useful for picking up frags. Now, as you'll be playing a support character with Dahlia, you do want to be picking up Lifeline as soon as you can to make the most out of this character. You'll also want to be investing in your utility, such as smoke and grenades, as early as you can. And if you have any spare money to invest later, you probably want to be picking up Tenacity. So Dahlia then is the best support character in Rogue Company right now. Therefore, I'm going to have to put her in S tier. So next up, we have Dallas, who is meant to be an intel rogue. His ability is to reveal the closest enemy to him for a short duration, and his passive is Recharge. So once he downs someone, he's able to reuse his ability, Target Finder. As for kit then, he has an assault rifle, which is a HRM 30KS, and the Devotion, which is a one-shot DMR. He also has an EMP grenade, which is pretty underwhelming, and an incendiary grenade, which is also underwhelming. As for perks then, he has Padded Steps, which is useful for flanking, Headstrong, which is one of my favourite perks in the game, Replenish, which I think is definitely needed on the HRM 30KS, as well as Bounce Back, which is a very underrated perk in Rogue Company, and its ability to regen your health quicker. Now then, sorry to upset some of you Dallas fans, he is the rudeness, truthness cowboy around, but he's also a D tier rogue in my opinion. And we're on to Dima. His ability is the Merv launcher, which is kind of like a grenade launcher. A cluster of grenades explode at the enemy's feet. And his passive is that if you damage enemies with a grenade or your Merv launcher, it reveals them for a short duration. Now onto kit then. Dima has the KA-30 assault rifle, which in my opinion is one of the best in the game. And the Mamba DMR, which is super strong if you can hit those burst bullets. He has an EMP, which, as stated before with Dahlia, is very underwhelming, but he does have the grenade to make up for that. In terms of perks, he has Life Drain, Resupply, which is the ability to resupply your grenades, and EMP grenades. Dima is looked at as a breacher, along with Sigrid and Glitch, so you do want to be picking up either Life Drain, so you can down an enemy and then regen your health and continue your push in, and Bounce Back, so you can regen your health as quickly as possible. Now, Dima, where would I place him? Previously, is probably a B or C tier rogue. I would actually now place him in A tier after the buff to his Merv launcher. I think it's now more likely to get a kill, and then you can play off of that kill. So for that reason alone, he's an A tier rogue. Over to Fixer then, who's arguably one of the coolest looking rogues in the game. He's one of 2 snipers alongside Phantom, and he's been broken on more than one occasion. And we've seen him completely banned from competitive play, as well as breaking servers recently in Rogue Company. However, he has the thermal vision ability, which enables him to see through smoke, and sharpen rounds, which slows enemies once you hit them with a pistol. Now, onto his kit, and it does pack some punch. You have the Tire Sniper, which is the Bolt 50 cal sniper rifle, and the Deadeye, which is the DMR. Now, if you're using Fixer, you do really want to be mastering the Tire, which when combined with Replenish is going to make this road super useful. If you are using Fixer though, you do want to get all 3 upgrades for the Tire to make the sniper rifle as powerful as it can be. And you do want to be picking up Replenish as soon as you can. So where would I be rating Fixer? Most importantly, he's an S tier rogue. So now we're on to Glitch, who can hack people for his ability. He can detect nearby players and gadgets, jam radars, destroy gadgets, prevent abilities being used, and gadget use. His passive is Intuition that detects nearby enemy equipment, which is really good for things like Ronin's knife and claymores. Now onto his loadout, he has the SKL-6 shotgun and the LMPX. The LMPX, which whilst buff, is still not as strong as other SMGs in the game. He does have a flashbang and use of a Semtex grenade, and he also has some useful perks for flanking, such as padded steps, the option to get an extra 25 armor using headstrong, tracker rounds, which can be useful in certain situations, and tenacity, which is good for breaching bomb sites. For me, where Glitch is kind of useful is approaching a bomb site. You can see if people were there, throw a few flashbangs in, have tenacity equipped with that SMG, and try and get a kill. So now where do we place Glitch? For me, he's not utilized that much. You don't really see him picked too often in ranked, and if it is, it's mainly to counter Trench's APS systems or Anvil's APS systems and his shield. So I think for me, he's either a C or D rogue, but I'm just going to put him in the C tier. So next up, we have quite an aggressive rogue in Kestrel. Her ability is the Halo drones that fires a barrage of rockets in a direction that you are looking, and the passive is to gain a 500 cash extra per down. Now, Kestrel has one of the best assault rifles in the game in the Riptide, and SMG is called the Knight, which in itself is quite a good gun. Now, gadgets then, she has the Adrenaline Shot, which when used, it instantly starts your health regeneration, and you have the Bounce Grenade, which won't start the ignition on detonating until it hits something, like a wall or the ground. The sum of Kestrel's best perks then are Resupply, which is when you eliminate an enemy, a little blue box pops up and you can resupply your gadgets. So it could either be an Adrenaline Shot or a Bounce Grenade. Replenish, which is when you down someone, your magazine automatically gets reload, and this is more useful on the Knight than it is the Riptide. And Padded Steps, which silences your footsteps when not sprinting. Now, Kestrel was considered an S tier rogue for quite a lot of Season 1. Since Season 2, there's been some changes to some of the rogues, and I think she's a bit more balanced now, which is why I'm going to place her in the A tier rogue. She's still super fun to play, and Halo drones are still really fun to use, but I'm going to place her in the A tier. So then we move on to Lancer, the flanking queen. Her ability is Quick and Quiet, which is increased movement speed, quieter movement, and immunity to reveals for a duration until firing your weapon. Her passive is activating dodge roll, reload your current equipped weapon. Her combat loadout is the SMG, which is named the 24S, and the Striker 8x10 automatic shotgun. Now, if you're playing Lancer, you'll probably want to play the 24S and use the life drain perk as well as padded steps. What makes Lancer good and versatile is she's able to flank round and get an easy kill usually and catch enemies out of position. With her increased movement speed, she's able to do this with ease. Now, where do we place Lancer in terms of tier list? I don't think she's an S tier rogue. I think she's a well-balanced rogue, so I'm going to put her in A tier. And now we move over to the second sniper, Phantom. A fan favourite, I think due to some of the cosmetics that Phantom has, such as the Deadly Idol and the North Star Phantom skins, as well as the Season 2 Battle Pass, the Wasteland Phantom skin. Now, her ability is the Nano Smoke, which when enemies go through that, they are revealed to their team. And her passive is Grievous Wounds, which is when damaging an enemy, their health bar regeneration is delayed. Now, you can either run Phantom with a Nightshade, but I think most people want the Sniper, which is the LR15. Now, with Phantom, she has a grenade and a sticky sensor, so which is good for covering your back when your teammates are down. That will basically reveal enemies as they run through that area. And for Phantom's perks, there are none that really stand out that are must buy for her. You'd probably go for Life Drain or Nimble Hands. Nimble Hands enables her for faster weapon swap speed to be able to swap from the sniper to her pistol, and reload speeds. So where am I going to place Phantom then in terms of my tier list? I'm actually going to place her in the B tier. She's a very well-rounded rogue, but very situational. And if you are going to choose a sniper, I'd probably go with Fixer. And now we're over to Ronin, who is one of the original characters that you unlock off the rip when downloading the game. The ballistic knife is at its best when an enemy peeks you and you're behind cover and you've still got your ability and you can throw that down, blow that up and usually get a free down. Now, her passive is Underground, which makes her immune to reveals and enemy radar detection, which now makes her a good flanker in the game. Her combat loadout, she has access to the KA-30, as touched on, is one of the best assault rifles in my opinion in the game, and the SLC, which is a good rounded SMG. She also has access to smoke grenades and normal grenades, which makes her versatile for both attacking and defending. Now, on top of that, she has a bunch of juicy perks, and tenacity being the main one, especially if you're choosing her for a defending rogue. She also has access to replenish, which is good in game modes like Strikeout and King of the Hill. Now, this may surprise some of you, but I'm actually going to put Ronin as an S tier rogue. Now, let me explain. She's now immune from enemy radar detection completely, which means that she's able to now flank, pick up rack spots and pick up an easy kill. Her ballistic knife downs people in one, which makes her super strong for picking up frags, and the use of the frag and smoke grenades make her a very strong rogue. So for that reason, I'm putting her in S tier. So next up, we have the second healer, Saint. His ability is the revive drone, which sends out a little drone which picks teammates up when they're down. Now, the one positive Saint does have over Dahlia is that he's able to res anyone on his team, where Dahlia is limited to just one person that she's linked with in the buddy link system. Now, his passive is medical expertise, which when he revives you, you both get healed for a significant amount. Now, Saint has access to the M4, which is probably one of the easiest recall pattern guns to master, and it's pretty hard hitting too. And we have the Mamba, which is the DMR, which if you can land all 3 headshots is pretty lethal. As part of his gadgets, he has access to smoke grenades, which is good for attacking, and he also has access to C4s. So when you're holding an area, you're able to throw a C4 over the top and detonate it to bring your enemies down. Perks, if you're playing Saint, you 100% have got to buy Helping Hand, which revives your teammates faster. It changes the time from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. And you'll probably want Bounce Back, which reduces your health generation delay, and Headstrong, which gives you an extra 25 armor. So, where are we going to play Saint then? I'm actually going to put him in the B tier. He could easily go in the A tier. He is a well-rounded rogue. He's easy to pick up and play, but I just think he's probably in the middle. So next up, we have Scorch. Her ability is Overheat, which sets enemies on fire and does additional fire damage over time. Her passive is fireproof, which makes her immune to fire. The Scorch has access to SLC, SMG, and the Arbitrator shotgun. She also has access to the Incendiary and EMP gadget grenades, but to be honest, they're okay. Scorch really wants Headstrong and Replenish to go with her SLC. Overall, Scorch is quite a weak rogue. So for me, Scorch is on par with Glitch, and I'm going to place her in the C tier. Now we move our attention over to Sigrid, who has the Ballistic Shield, who stops all incoming damage from the front. Her passive is Athletic, which makes her immune to slowing effects. Sigrid has access to the D40C and the S12 shotgun, which makes her an up-close and personal rogue when breaching the site. So the gadgets then, she has the Adrenaline Shot, which instantly starts health regen, and the Semtex grenade. So her perks, she has Life Drain, Lifeline, Tenacity, and the others are not so important. Where Sigrid is really going to excel is when she activates her shield ability and she breaches a site. Sigrid at the moment is extremely hard to counter since you cannot melee her anymore, and that makes her kind of meta, and it makes her frequently banned in Rogue Company Demolition. That being said, she's not that fun to play in other game modes such as King of the Hill or Strikeout, and it makes her less useful in those game modes. So I'm going to put her in the A tier. So we're going to whiz through Talon really quickly. His Radar Dart is his ability that reveals enemies, and his Mag Glove picks up items and reclaims guns from range. So his combat loadout is the LMPX, which is an average SMG, and the Deadeye is a super strong DMR. He has a C4 and flashbang, which can make him good for approaching sites, and his perks are okay. He's got padded steps, which makes him a good flanker, as well as access to tenacity and life drain. Now, Talon is an underperforming rogue in my opinion, and he is in desperate need of a buff. Therefore, as it currently stands, I'm going to put Talon in the D tier. So next up, we have another Intel rogue who arguably killed Talon off, and that is Seeker. He has the arrow scanner, which is ability, which is an arrow that reveals enemies along its flight path. And his passive is the ricochet, which projectiles deal 70% more damage when bounced. His combat loadout, he has a unique assault rifle, which is named the Sahara. He also has another unique weapon called the RNL212, which has a scope on it, and this is the only scope weapon other than snipers in the game. He has a sticky sensor and a bounce grenade, and his perks, he has a weird selection, but he has life drain, bounce back, and one that feels slightly out of place, lifeline. Now, Seeker faces competition from Dahlia and Talon, who find themselves in the D tier, but I'm going to place Seeker in A tier. I think he's the best intel rogue in the game, and he probably has led to Dahlia and Talon falling so far down in this chart. So next up is Trench. We're going to rush through this rogue. His ability is the barbed wire, which we've recently seen a damage tick to, but let's face it, it's pretty underwhelming. And then we've got his passive, which is gadget up, which is really useful when paired with Dahlia. Now, his combat loadout, he has access to the assault rifle, the HRM30KS, and the DMR, the MXR. His gadgets are the trip mine and active protective system, and this really is where Trench excels because of his APS. If you were to remove this from Trench, he'd be a pretty poor rogue. He does have access to some perks which are worthwhile, such as bounce back and headstrong, which gives you an additional 25 armor. Now, where would we place Trench in terms of tier list? I think he's a C tier rogue. He's just above D tier because of the APS systems. If they were removed, he would fall down in D tier, but that's my opinion. So we're nearly at the end, but the next rogue is Vi. Her Vile Poison ability reduces the enemy's maximum health, and her passive is Leeching Poison, which increases your maximum health by up to 25%, meaning that Vi can get 125 HP. Now, her combat loadout is the Nightshade and the S12 Tactical, but really you do want to be using the Nightshade with Vi. Now, it isn't the best assault rifle, but it has been buffed recently to try and bring it up more around the KA30, but it still is underperforming. Now, for the gadgets, we have the Tear Gas Grenade, which disorientates the enemies. Then we have the Incendiary Grenade, which is an underwhelming grenade. The main perks for Vi are Bounce Back, Replenish, Helping Hand, and Tracker Rounds. So Vi is pretty good situationally on some maps, particularly in Factory, holding off one of the bomb sites, and in High Castle. I think she's an average rogue, so I'm actually going to put her in B tier. Now, we're heading over to Mack, whose ability is the light bomb, which basically is a device that charges up and you can detonate it when you want, or the timer runs down and it detonates and blinds people within its radius. Now, his passive is the standard issue, which means that he starts with 25 armor, and every time he downs someone, he instantly replenishes that armor. Now, over to his combat loadout, we have the Conviction, which is an LMG, but it has a unique perk, which means that the longer you shoot it, the more accurate it gets, which is pretty overpowerful for holding off areas where you think people may peek, and it means that they won't peek that area for a longer period of time. Now, his SMG is the Objection, which when paired with one of his perks Replenish is pretty OP. And we've also got a grenade and APS systems, which are the gadgets that Mack has. For his perks then, he has Bounce Back, Replenish, and Resupply. Now, Replenish used with both the Objection and Conviction is a pretty insane thing to think about. So lastly, we have this guy, Mack. I think he's above average, which is why I'm going to place him in the A tier. So that pretty much concludes this tier maker, but you can probably notice that one in particular rogue is missing, and she goes by the name of Switchblade. Now, if I had an image of her, I'd be putting her for sure in the S tier category. She has super dope equipment with the Chaos Launcher, as well as some insane perks, which makes her an absolute beast for King of the Hill, Strikeout, and Team Deathmatch. But that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. Let me know if you agree with the tier list in the comments down below. But if you do disagree with any of my placements, leave a valid reason why and we can have a good discussion about it. But that's it for today's video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!